So this is an old video that you're going to watch. I started filming in November 2023 and it took me a year to post. So these are all archived clips. You know, some of my thoughts might have changed, some might stay the same, but I'd like to post them because it's part of the journey and it's important to me, and they matter to me, and it shows the journey and shows different thoughts I was going through compared to now, I guess. But yeah, enjoy the video. Peace. Because I tell you what, let my emotions get control of me today. I think when not just me, but when people let their expectations get high, when people let their expectations get high and then they don't achieve what they want to achieve, it really does upset me, probably most people. And I have got to work out why this is like quite seriously actually affected me. Like, I could probably cry like that right now about it, and all it is to do with money and my wage, because I expected more and I got what I got, and at the end of the day it's still a good wage, you know, still a great wage for my age. I'm not in a position where I'm struggling financially and dependent on the money and stuff's gonna go tits up because I haven't got an extra few £100. So I've got to figure out why it's actually made me so upset. It's got something. Why is the road ahead closed? It's got something to do with how much effort I put in to the reward that I got. But I don't know if it's just this childlike mind of you want an instant sort of pleasure and reward. Whereas I know the right way to be thinking about things is long term and is the long term reward. Because even though I can't see the short term reward, I know there is a very long term reward that is extremely beneficial for what I'm actually going through at work at the moment. And I know I've got to focus on that. And that's where the reward will be in the future. And I know I'm only young, and I know I've got to have a little bit of patience, and the situation I'm in could be more critical than I actually am led to believe. Or there's no harm in thinking that way. But I was extremely tough on myself mentally. I mean, I've got myself out of it, but extremely tough. But one positive I did like is there was no blame on anyone else. In fact, it was the complete opposite. It was actually praise for everyone else in the situation. You know, I understand everyone's trying to do exactly what they can and what's best for me, and I appreciate that a lot, and I'm glad I appreciate that. I've got people in my life who are trying to make my life the best it can be with whatever they can do. And from loved ones, that's, when you look at the actions of people, that's where you seriously see what you mean to people. And then in return, what they should mean to you. People aren't always big on the words, but they're big on actions. And I think if you can see the actions that people do for you and you can appreciate them, it does make you love them more, which that's why I'm glad that I can actually see that. I'm grateful for that. So even though it has been a tough day, well, it's not even been a tough day, it's been a tough end to the day. I mean, it almost sounds silly to call it tough because it's not tough. It's just, like I said, expectations aren't met. But they aren't met for the short-term goal. And I think that's what the issue is with that statement that I've heard, is that when you have high expectations, you then get upset when they don't match up. Whereas people say you should have it the other way around. You should have low expectations, and anything above that makes you happy. And I have thought of that recently, and I have thought of certain people I know who I think, yeah, you shouldn't have such high expectations because you're setting yourself up for disappointment. But I guess this has made me think about that, because there's nothing wrong with having high expectations, especially for me, because it only fuels me to reach them again. I don't quit on and give up and think, oh, I'm never going to get it. It upsets me a lot in the moment when I don't get what my expectations are. But I don't give up and I don't quit on that, and it fuels me more, and it makes me want to work even harder to get that, and look into, when it comes to money, look into my life and say, well, where can I save? Where can I take money off so I have more money and still have, a lot of pleasure? And for me, it works out that having high expectations and not reaching them is a good thing, because it keeps me going. And I think I've said this before, but as long as I can try and learn from anything that happens, for me, it's almost like that's the purpose of the journey, is to learn. And as long as I focus on what I'm learning, I can get through it. I can keep on going. And for me, that's where the value is. The value is in what lessons am I learning from these reactions that I'm having. And that makes me grateful for everything that happens. And I can see that I do become more resilient as more negative things happen. And sometimes I find it hard to call things struggle and call things tough, because I just do compare it to what other people go through. And I think it's absolutely nothing. Can't compare what I go through and what I class as a struggle and what I class as tough and say it is all those things, when you've got people really suffering in the world. You've got people that are completely lonely. You've got no family. You've got people who are ill. They've got terminal illnesses. Oh, not even terminal illnesses. They've got illnesses that actually do affect your life and make it tougher. You've got people who go to war and fight and, lose friends and stuff like that and loved ones. You've got people who generally get their heart broken. They've got family members who die. They've got financial issues. They've got addiction issues. And I'm sat here talking about I didn't get a few £100 added to the end of my wage. And that's something I struggle with because, you've got to talk about, you've got to talk about your struggle, but try and define struggle. And when I'm looking at mine, I'm thinking it's not struggle. Now, it's something happening, yeah, but it's hard to say it's struggle, and it's hard for me to talk on videos of talk about your struggle when, in comparison, you know what I mean? I'm not actually going for anything. So it does make me a bit insecure, a bit embarrassed when I talk about something like what I've just fully talked about, or any struggle that I say I'm going through, anything tough, anything stressful. It's hard because I know those people are out there comparing and saying what you're going through is nothing. But you have got to start from somewhere to become resilient. And I think there are more people in the world that are like me and class struggles as struggles when they're not really that serious. But by doing that, you do feel like you can't speak. And I bet you that's why a lot of men don't speak. But because they look at the next person along and go, he's going through worse. I don't have the right to speak about something small. Something small about feeling the pressure of money. I mean, that's stupid to bring that up. But there has to be a world where that can be brought up in a way that's not criticised and that's not judged. And there's a precise amount that you could probably do it and say. By do it, I mean talking about what's going on in your life and what you are struggling with. Because too much of it, and yeah, it gets out of hand. You are being weak and you are being a bit of a wuss. But part of me looks at it like, well, you can talk about it and just get on with it. At the same time, you don't necessarily need people to step in and help you. Sometimes you probably just need to talk about it, give it, a bit of a moan, and then move on. And I think sometimes it doesn't have to be looked at too seriously. I think people just need to get things off the chest. And when you're in an environment where you're being criticised, or there is a risk of consequences, you don't want to talk about anything because it's not worth it. It's not worth a little bit of a moan that you're going to have about your situation. That really you're not saying your situation's awful, but you've just got something on your mind all the time and you just want to get it out there. And I think sometimes that's what it is with me, that sometimes I just need to do a bit of a moan, and most of the time I don't feel like that space is available for me to do where I feel comfortable doing that. It's not anyone's. I'm not relying on a person to do it. But for me, like I've just said, I have this comparison with people that have much worse struggle, and I can't speak to someone who's dealing with more stress than me, coping with it, and me then saying my stress and not feeling like what am I on about? How can I even say this? You know what I mean? Like with my money, with a wage, I'm earning X amount, but comparing it to someone else, like my girlfriend, who sees that that's her next goal, Now I look at it and say, "What, you know what I mean? It's not. I want to be more than that. I want to be better than that." And she might feel like she can't moan. You know, I no, yeah, she might feel like she can't really understand about that issue that I have with the money, because it's an achievement for her. Whereas I've been there and now I'm not seeing it as an achievement. So if I complain to someone like that, it's it's not understood, and rightfully so, because it's not, you know, it's not a stressor. It's not a tough moment. You know, you're just not really appreciating and seeing what you've got in front of you. Um, so yeah, I've been thinking about that balance between actually talking about the pressures you feel and the comparison of though that pressure and appreciating what you have. And I think there is a balance between it, and there is a time to do it. And that is what I think I'm trying to figure out. But, you know, by the end of the day, by the time I'm going to go to sleep, I'm uh, I'm slowly seeing more of an appreciative side. And I know when I side, so to say, and I know when I wake up in the morning that I am going to just get on with it and just carry on and work harder and try and get it the next month. That's the good thing about work. You don't get it this month, it's always next month. So, yeah. And yeah, I wake up being more appreciative and more thankful that, you know, I've got people around me that are actually trying to improve my life and do the best for me, because that is a very lucky situation, and I am a very lucky person. And, you know, I've said this before, my life is amazing because of the people around me that have got me into the life that I've got and are giving me the opportunities that I've got, and, you know, are patient with me and are sensitive with me and do care for me and love me. So I am a very lucky person. So this is why I do find it hard to talk about any pressures or what, or, you know, moaning or whatever. But I'm giving it a go. Um, yeah, that's it. Peace.